Hey, I'm Deb Fan, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
What's up, guys? Rob here, Front Row Live Entertainment. I'm hanging out with Deb Fan, and I'm excited to be talking to you. New single just recently dropped, and I really want to dive in and talk about your creative process of the track.
Okay.
But before we really dive in on that, I'm curious, how did you really discover your voice and your sound, especially in this industry that's there's so many artists all the time, so you want to be something new, something fresh, and you're definitely doing that with your sound and your vocals.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just always trying to be authentically myself, It's I feel like a lot of people when they first start out, they try to emulate a certain sound that's already working and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like I realized that quite early on that when I was trying to emulate all these other artists that I admire, it's it didn't feel right. I don't know, but I mean, you say that I have such a sound, and I think it's a constant evolution, I'm still trying to find my own voice and find my own sound to it. I think that's all part of the process. So
yeah. But as far as kind of discovering those vocal tones that you have, or what vocal tones you can kind of tackle with your music, I'm sure that also impacts the writing process, especially with this kind of you have this very beautiful, soft, delicate type of voice. So
thank you, man.
I'm curious what that writing process is like. Do you consider that voice when you're writing, or is that something that comes after?
Honestly, when I was writing before this track came out, and before I was working on the project that I'm working on now, I honestly was just writing a bunch of melodies. I didn't even know whether it fit my voice or not, but this time I definitely knew I wanted to show more of my range in my voice, especially the lower tones and everything. And I don't know, I've always heard all these different artists with such range, and there's so many dynamics in their voice, and I wanted to I really focused on the songwriting at that point. I have to hit certain notes to be able to bring that out, So, but yeah, I mean, that's a long-ended answer, but short answer, not really.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to songwriting, how did you start songwriting? Did you, were you one of those artists that you used to write journals, or you used to write poems and then turn them into music, or, what was your process? Everybody's different.
I mean, I would love to say I journal, but not really. I just have my notes app, and whenever I think of something that's whenever I feel a certain type of way, but I can't necessarily express that in public or say that out loud, I write it down on my notes app. I'm just oh, noted. This is how I'm feeling right now. I got to channel that energy. But no, I never wrote poems or or journaling. I mean, my therapist would say otherwise, but but yeah, nothing of that kind.
Now you said recording it on your app, or writing it on your app because it's stuff that you don't want other people to listen to. Is it you don't want other people to hear because you're in that moment, or because it's a vulnerable type of situation that you really want to be delicate with it before you kind of put it out there?
I think, yeah, I definitely want to tread lightly in terms of a lot of the stuff that I feel. I feel a lot of I would not say half of the stuff that I say in my songs in public. It's just I don't know. I find it super corny or super cringy to be saying those types of stuff. I don't know.
So you have that alter ego.
Exactly, kind of it's my form to express myself. It's the only way that I can really get my point across, because sometimes, I don't know, in public you don't want to cause a scene or anything. So yeah, pretty much.
Now let's dive in and talk about Lady, which is the most recent release that you have so far. Talk to me about that creative process for this one. Did you know you were writing this song, or is this one of those songs that kind of just naturally flowed out of you?
Honestly, it was it was one of those songs that naturally flowed out. I've never, I mean, it's the instrumental is a blues track, and at the time I was trying to produce all by myself and stuff, but I grew frustrated, and I couldn't produce any songs. I couldn't write any songs that I felt resonated with me. So I pulled up a beat pack that one of my friends sent me. His name's Max. He's a producer, and I just as soon as I heard that first track, Lady, I was like, oh yeah, this is it, the synth bass. And then it just came so naturally. Like, I usually like top line or like sing the melodies first before I add in the words, but the words still have to like match phonetically, you know, or like the vowels have to match depending on what I'm singing. So yeah.
And this is also like a first time you collaborated with Max as like production?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I've met him before and we've had studio sessions and stuff, but nothing out yet. So this is our first project out. Yeah.
So what was it like kind of collaborating for the very first time? Not necessarily for Lady, but just like that first time that the two of you collaborated in the studio or in a session together?
Honestly, yeah, the first time I don't really like meeting producers for the first time and just like diving straight in. Like that usually is daunting, and that's like what happens with me and Max. Like we didn't really make anything like that great, but I knew that he was so talented and I wanted to give like, you know, us a second chance.
Right.
So I went through his beat selections. Everything that he sends me like is super curated. I'm just like, oh wait, he's much more than a beat maker, you know. He's like a producer, and he has everything that he puts into his work is very intentional. And so then, you know, like after meeting him for like one time, like I called him and I was like, yo, I'm about to go to Fremont, California. Like, and I don't know if you know where that is, but that's like somewhere in the Bay. It's not like San Francisco, like San Jose, like, but it's Fremont, California. And I just booked a motel. You know, I went straight to his place from the motel every day for like a week and a half. Yeah. Damn. And the feeling, it was great. Like, I think we were both just super excited to like jump straight into something like, I don't know, something beautiful, you know, like, so yeah, it was amazing. Was
this like a spur of the moment type of trip, or you were planning it, but just not sure whether or not you were going to tell him?
No. It was kind of spur of the moment. Like it was a week before I went out. I was like, hey, like 3 of my songs like on this project that I'm working on is your beat. I would love to like flesh this entire project out with you. Wow. So yeah, it was a week before I went that I told him. I was like, yeah. Yeah, we didn't really know each other at that point, but now we're tight. So
yeah, that's awesome. It's like a scary situation at the same time. Like when you don't know someone and you want to like offer your body of work, like your songs, your baby, and you don't know how that's going to turn out. So like being able to just allow them into your space and create something like I feel like that's a challenge in itself.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. It definitely is. You know, not every single producer that I work with has worked out, but that's not necessarily saying that
maybe not worked out now.
Exactly. It's like there's always potential. Maybe I was in the right headspace. Maybe like our sounds just didn't line at the time. But I mean, with Max and a lot of the other producers that I work with, like they're like of Chinese descent. So I don't know, for some reason it's that familial like love, you know, like you feel like we both understand each other. Yeah, exactly.
Look at that, we're finishing each other's sentences.
Yeah, we're understanding each other.
I got you. So during this process, like, because I mentioned earlier, like your voice is so like soft and delicate, during this process, how did you feel that he allowed you to kind of be comfortable during that recording or vocal recording process, but at the same time like step out of that comfort zone and try something different, or try something that you didn't think you could have done before?
I see. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the songs I did write like by myself, like I recorded and everything, but no, he definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone. Like I was classically trained, for example, and like a lot of my operatic voice, I guess, like I don't like, why would I sing opera on my track? Like that doesn't make any sense. But like in the later songs that you'll hear, he really like pushed me out of my comfort zone. He was like, this would be so cool if like you created like this choir of like opera, like it'll put it, I don't know, it's like gives it like an eerie feeling or something. And I don't know, I was so stubborn. I was like, hell no, like no, like what are you, like no, that sounds so, I don't know. But no, I'm glad he pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I was able to do that. So. Yeah.
Were you trained classically on your own, or it was something like your parents wanted you to do?
My parents wanted me to do that. You know, they obviously, you know, just being Asian, like they wanted us to play piano. Like I played violin, but I quit that one though. But yeah, like voice, like they wanted us to be able to control our voices for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, so I was taking lessons.
Are your parents singers as well? or artists?
No, hell no.
Wow.
No, they don't. I think they just wanted their kids to be prodigies.
Yeah,
so.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, learning these instruments as well, and learning this like kind of opera voice, how did the balance of like the piano help you kind of understand those vocal tones at the same time?
Honestly, it didn't at first. Like, it didn't, like when I was learning classical music, like I was also listening to a lot of like alt rock, like blues rock, like psychedelic rock, like
complete opposite of what you were training in.
Yeah, like I don't know, I just wanted, like when Spotify came out, I was like, I wanted to be like an old soul, but like not like classical old, but like so I listened to a lot of what I thought my parents listened to back in the day, and inevitably like my voice kind of like shaped in that way too. Like, but more recently I just was going back to my roots, which is classical, and I realized that a lot of my singing is haunting in a way, or I've been told that. So I don't know, I think just without even thinking, like my voice does sound similar to the path that I don't know I was trained in. So I don't know, I guess it works out.
Has your voice played a role in like the type of sound or the type of songwriting that you have on this upcoming project?
I think so. Yeah, for sure. Like I think wait, can you actually repeat that again?
Yeah, has your voice kind of played a role on what kind of like storylines or what kind of lyrics I guess you'd be writing for this project?
Gotcha. Not necessarily, no. Yeah, I think I knew what I wanted the concept of the EP to be, like what I wanted lyrically for it to be, I guess, before I even started writing any of the songs. But then, I don't know, it felt really natural, honestly. Like, I think, like the type of voice that I have, which is, airy, like maybe a bit operatic, haunting, like a lot of the themes that I do write about are pretty nihilistic in this project, so maybe that goes hand in hand. I don't know.
You mentioned earlier that some of the songs that or the music that you write in your songs, like you wouldn't say that kind of out loud or in person. When it comes to vulnerability, how easy or difficult has that been for you to put to paper and then obviously like record and release to your audience?
Honestly, really difficult. Like obviously the first few listeners that I've had was just my family, and like I didn't want to say
That's scary.
I didn't want to say some shit to my family. But it's still an ongoing process. Like a lot of stuff that I would write on paper, I don't say them out loud. And even now, a lot of things that I'm thinking, like, won't even put them on paper. So, I just constantly am trying to open up, and feel like my words are valid, disregarding like what anyone else thinks. It's music is just music. But I think a lot of, I don't know, it's a little scary because a lot of people do take lyrics too damn seriously. So like, like I tread lightly. Yeah.
With this upcoming EP, what direction are you taking your listeners into, and like who do you feel you are as an artist this time around?
I definitely feel like this project is the most authentically me. Like I think in my other projects I was definitely thinking about, like this like snippet that I just like wrote like could pop off on TikTok or something. Like, but no, I'm not even like thinking about that for this project. It's definitely very personal, like I don't expect, nothing is really like danceable in this project for sure. I think they can expect a range of genres.
Okay.
Like I think there's one album that I do like. I don't remember the album title, but I remember the cover from Fouché. It's like the one where she's like glowing in the middle of the night. Dark. She's with like a bunch of grass. And I don't know. There's like that one like inspired me to like just go beyond like what I can even imagine. Like I'm such a small artist. Like there's nothing, like I might as well like do what I want to do now.
Try everything you want.
Exactly. Develop a sound that I actually like instead of trying to make songs for the masses.
So do you feel that you're still trying to develop your sound on this EP, or do you feel like you've kind of landed on the sound that you want to do? I
want to still change, like I think obviously I can't change my voice, and I think people might be able to put two and two together if I were to make a Jersey Club song or like a classical something neo soul song, which is what the EP is. Like I think people will still be able to tell that that's me, but in terms of this project, it's definitely a lot more, like I said, personal. So strange, it's artsier. Yeah, it's artsier, and I don't expect everyone to love it. So
do you have a title for this project yet, and does that title coincide with the topics that you're talking about?
Kind of like in a metaphorical sense. Yeah, the project is called Kowloon Demos, and Kowloon is just like a place in Hong Kong. There's like metaphors to it, like I believe it's like the 90s where there's like an inner city where it's just like a walled off like place, and it's where basically all the triads run their business.
Yeah.
And that was so deep rooted into like Hong Kong culture at the time. I wasn't alive at the time, but like it was so rooted in that, a lot of movies came out of it, like Wong Kar-wai, like all these other like directors, they were so inspired by like the triad versus the police.
Yeah.
And the walled city was called Kowloon Walled City, and it was demolished in like the 90s. So it served as a significant purpose in that sense. And I named it that because the theme that I usually like go for is like the dichotomy in this world, or like in my world, and so I felt that was symbolic in a sense, triads versus police, and like there's not really like a right or wrong. So that project is very much based off of all that.
It's cool though, because it's not something that just like whatever stuck to the wall happened. It was like you really thought about this, you really like dug into your roots to kind of discover yourself at the same time too. But I'm excited to hear what this EP sounds like once it's released.
Yeah, me too. Me too, man. It's not done mixing and mastering, but it's pretty much there. So me too. I'm on the same page as you.
So when it comes to live shows, are you ready for that yet? Or do you want to still focus on that creative aspect of like creating your music and kind of working on honing your sound?
Oh no, I'm ready to perform. Yeah. I think I started off as a performer before I even like created music. So, I was just doing covers and all that. And I've been performing my entire life. So I'm ready to get back on stage. Like I went on tour last year, and it was like that. The tour itself, every time I got on stage, that's like what reminded me, like, this is home. What I want to do, because sometimes making music is not all that fun. It's like you're putting so much of your soul, your energy into it. But yeah, performing is like, yes, I'm the star, so it's a different feeling for sure. Yeah. I would love to get back on.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited for this new material. I'm excited to sit down here with you. So thank you so much for hanging out with me.
Yeah, thank you, man.
You guys be sure to check out Deb Fan. Latest single, Lady, is out now. And thanks for watching on Front Row Live.
Bye.